My name is Kennedy Steele Williams. I'm 17 years old, and my dad has been incarcerated for 14 years. For me, it happened when I was young, so I was like 2. So I know for older kids, it'll be harder, like, when you can really understand if you're like 6, 7, 8, you can really understand, like, oh, my mom or dad is really going to prison or jail. But for me, I was young, so it's kind of like, well, dad's not here, but he'll be back one day. That's kind of where my mind was at for the longest until I really understood what was going on. My young years, like 6 through 9, we had a good relationship. I would write him letters. Sometimes I was slack though, because I still had school, and it's like, I really have to sit down and write a letter. I want to go play outside. But it's important to actually take those phone calls and write those letters so that the relationship doesn't completely drift away. And as far as teen years, that's really, to me, when it got harder, because I fully understood, and I understood how it's like, wow, it's a 22 and a half year sentence. I'm going to be graduated from college. So it's like, okay, they've taken my childhood, my adolescent years, and really, he'll be out when I get to medical school, because that's really like where I aspire to go. So his early release, really, it was good. At first, it still is unbelievable now, actually, but it just made me think, wow, he really wouldn't have been here. I actually used to be ashamed. It was around, I was about 8, and I met my best friend, and her dad was a coal miner. But I actually told my little friend circle, because I have the same 3 best friends that I still have now. And eventually I did tell them, look, my dad is in prison. That's why he's not here. But when he gets out, y'all will meet him. And they were very supportive. But as far as other kids who I felt like would be very judgmental, I used to steal my best friend's dad's job. So I used to be like, oh, my dad's a coal miner. My dad's a coal miner. My dad's a coal miner. He was not a coal miner. So I don't really remember when. I think it was when I got to middle school. I just swallowed my pride, and I was like, it is what it is. There's no point in hiding it. If people think of me differently because of what he decided to do, then that's on them. But I still, at the end of the day, know who I am. So I just would come out with it and just be like, yeah, my dad's in prison. Some people would be sympathetic. Some people would have relatives who were actually in the situation, and you would be shocked, because it's like, wow, I didn't know this many people were actually in the same situation I am, or a similar one. So it may be scary at first to actually just come out with it, but you shouldn't be ashamed, because everybody makes mistakes. Some people just get caught and others don't, or some mistakes are bigger than others. I did have moments where I was discouraged, because I'm like, my dad's not actually here, and I want to have a strong relationship with him, like a daddy-daughter bond, but we can't really have one because the phone call is like 30 minutes, and then it takes 2 to 4 hours for an email to actually get back, and it'll be the whole other day before I check it, and a whole other series of events will have happened, and I'm like, okay, I don't even want to talk about this anymore, because this just happened. But really, once I would go to visit, and we visit at least like once or twice a year, but once I would actually go to visit, and we would have our little 30 minutes to an hour just one-on-one time, and we would walk around or walk outside or just go to another side of the visitation room. We'd just catch up, and it'd be like nothing ever happened. But I know that it's a lot of moments where we don't like to talk about how we're feeling, and I still have those, and I probably will still continue to have those. But I say, even if it's not your parent that you want to talk to, find somebody to talk to, because it's not good to have all that on yourself, along with school and extracurricular activities and all that. So even if it's just your best friend who you can rant to, talk to them, talk to your grandparents, talk to a cousin you're close to, anybody, just so that you won't just have all this on your mind, because that can really make you go crazy.